I like keeping supply lists simple because I want creating to be accessible to everyone. So I'll show you a variety of things that I have and that we're going to use, but don't feel like you have to get them all or they have to be exactly these things. I'll tell you the ones that I think you really do need. And just know that you can use just about anything you have around the house, even old lipstick or nail polish. Okay, look at all these delicious supplies. Don't get overwhelmed though, because remember what I keep saying about using fewer supplies is fine. And as far as paper, let's do that first. You do not need a fancy watercolor paper for this work. I think Canson, which is widely available, I have links to most of these, if not all of these supplies on my website at SusanAllard.com. But it's a great paper for this purpose. So I wouldn't worry about anything more expensive than that. All right, paint. The gouache paint is the star of the show. This is the palette. Again, links to the palette, links to everything on my website. If you want more information on gouache, I go into it in quite a bit of detail in my other class, the Painting a Joyful Bouquet class. But there are a variety of brands from expensive to medium to cheap, and I cover all that. Again, links to all three types on my website. Okay, so you definitely need the gouache because I told you I'd tell you what you really need for this project versus what's kind of nice to have. This is a nice to have, but at least one set of them would be great, or any water-soluble crayon that you can find. These are Neocolor 2s, and I'll show you how those work later. Then little chalky pastels. These are not, and I also have oil pastels. So these are really old, you can tell, and so are these oil pastels. I also have crayons in here from my kids when they were little. And I have Tombow markers. These are water-soluble markers, so like watercolor markers. And you certainly don't need all these colors. You could just get a few, not essential, because gouache kind of does the same thing. I just use them because I have them. These, I would say probably are kind of essential. Not nearly this many. It's taken me a long time to get this many, but I would get a few colors that I think that you love. So I can tell you I love these two, the off-white and this coral pink, but you know, maybe a gray is really nice. But you can go again on my website and see sources for these, and I would encourage you to pick out 3 or 4 colors that you really like. That's all you really need. Or you might have some other kind of paint marker. If you already have a paint marker, don't spend money on more. I do like to have these white and black China markers, not essential though, and then a white paint pen. It's the same as that, but this is a little more finer detail. I would say this is in the essential category at least, if you like metallics like I do. I find this brand, while not made as well, the actual metallic ink that's in them is better than the Posca, and these are cheap. These are at Michael's, and I would get the fat and thin gold, and same with silver. If, again, you like metallics. If you don't bother. You could also grab any acrylic paint you have. It can be anything from a nice paint, like a golden, to cheapies. It's fine for this kind of project. Don't need to get fancy. Assorted brushes, nothing very quality, I would say, except if you wanted to have a liner brush that can get you thinner things, more detail. A palette knife is nice. And then just, I would say, an assortment of pens and pencils, and because you never know what you might like using as a mark. I'll talk about these at the end, but these are if you are still continuing to work on the piece and you want to seal what you've already done, a workable fixative, and then to finish your piece off, a final varnish. And that's it for supplies. All right, let's go have some fun playing with these.